Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the GBYWN Australia podcast. I am your host once again, Aston Crude. You guys have heard that 4 times tonight, which must be annoying.
I'm sure they haven't watched each of these parts in one night.
No, definitely not.
If you are, turn this off right now and go to bed, please. Please, for the love of God, please.
Alright, so basically part 2 of my interview here with Clint Marshall. We're discussing his WZWA career after the ICWS. First thing, how did you first hear of WZWA and your first thoughts on when you saw it? I mean, you must have seen us with the ring and all that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I saw. Obviously, the WZWA guys came to the couple of ICWS, and I think then it's just a matter of a quick Google search, YouTube, and you see the
show you had the 30-minute Iron Man was the first time they did a showcase match.
Yeah. With when Jack Wallace was still 5'5". 5 IVE. Dorcha. DO5A.
I love you 5 ever.
Yeah, that was pretty much the first time I heard of the event. I knew a lot of the guys in the ICWS were wrestling there, and for me it was like this place where they've got a real ring. Like, I think Justin came up and was like, hey, this place has a real ring.
Because it took a few months for you to really say anything to me. Well,
yeah.
I don't think I even... I assumed you weren't interested.
Because it was end of... The first appearance I ever made there was in the Royal Rumble, or like whatever we call it. Battlefield Brawl. I entered in as a surprise entrant, even though it wasn't a surprise.
You were there all day.
I was there all day. But I entered a surprise entrance. That was my first time, and that was end of 2012, I imagine. Yeah. I'd just finished exams. Year 12 exams, so I was more than happy to like come and spend some time wrestling and stuff, because I had all the time in the world.
Was it fun being around?
Absolutely. And it felt so free as well, when you finally finish those year 12 exams, and it's just feel like the world is your oyster. Like, you've got all this time in the world to do whatever you wanted, and I finally get to go to this federation that has this real ring, and real ring. But it was awesome. Finally getting there and being able to like bounce off the ropes. You felt more professional.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's so fun having that added element of corners and
turnbuckles
and
the impact sound, and the
the sound it makes,
the actual
when you
sound
hit a move.
of the ring.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. But so it was just ICWS and WZWA were sort of interlocking towards the end of it anyway, so it was just I always knew about it. It was just a matter of time until I actually, found the time to come in.
I remember at one stage I said to everyone at WZWA, remember, ICWS is still the priority. Yeah. Well, that didn't fucking last. Soon after this, ICWS was gone, and this was all we had. But we did Christmas Carnage, and you had your debut, and you got quite a good pop, even though you were there all day. Yeah. But it was still pretty cool. Resolution 1, our biggest show to date. You wrestle in a 3-way with Delcanho and Mykonos.
That's right.
I thought
I was still face it this time, wasn't I?
Yes.
I came back just as a continuation of my ICW.
Pretty much, yeah. And I said, because I don't know why, but Mitch wasn't happy with how things were going with him, even though he had some incredible feuds leading up to this with Antilochus and Ryan Tate. He'd done so good over the previous 5 months. For some reason, he wasn't quite happy with how he just had a random match. But I just thought, no, this is actually a really important match, because it's like 3 former GBYWN Australian champions in the same match, It would help you because you're winning the match. It helps you become a bigger...
Cements your legacy.
So your memories of that, because that was your last match for quite some time.
Yeah, that was a good match. We planned, I think actually WZWA was where I started to sort of plan my matches a bit more in advance, as in, sort of Facebook them during the week, call spots.
So the Clint Marshall notepad was more prevalent.
Yeah, or the digital notepad. So we started to plan those matches, and we had I think we had some good chemistry in that match. I don't remember much of the match again. It was the end of 2012. Or beginning of 2013.
You'd probably have to watch it back.
To bring back something. But from what I can remember, we put on a good show. especially towards the end, I think we had a really good false finish sort of closing segment to the match.
Yeah.
I think I was the one who actually got pinned
Yeah.
in the end, which was fine. See if I give a fuck.
Damn, I wanted you to
Yeah.
say fucking Delcanho.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was a cool match. And again, I was just happy to, come back and it's like, oh, we're putting you in a title match. It's like, oh, sweet. People, are actually interested in my first proper match back. And I hadn't wrestled for pretty much all of 2012. So I had quite a bit of ring rust. And I think I performed all right, given the circumstances.
Given the circumstance, yep. So you exit WZWA for some time. While you were away, did you watch? Did you keep up with
Not
what was
at all.
happening? No?
Actually, I think Johnston may have sent me the links of a couple recaps here and there.
Because he had debuted after you left. So.
Yeah, but
And that was the year of our really hardcore shit as well. So
Yeah,
I think cunts out being put through.
Yeah, that's right. He always that's what he sent
Blame
me.
Dan Zeppelin. He introduced them. So.
Yeah, that's I actually did. I didn't keep up with it, but whenever Justin sent me a video saying oh fucking check out these guys, they're fucking crazy, I give it a watch, and it was pretty cool, and it got me excited. And it was when he was sending me that I was like, hey, I want to come back. These guys, fuck, they look like legit. This looks like pretty good production quality. And that's when I started.
We're doing night shows and stuff.
And with the floodlights, and it looks cool. It seems like there's a good environment. I was like, yeah, man, I want to come back. And it was at that point, while I was on my gap year, I'm sure we'll touch on this, but I started to think about my character and where I wanted to be coming back. And I actually messaged you while I was overseas saying, hey, man, I want to come back. I want to turn heel. This is my idea. I actually came up with that idea by myself. And I don't know where it came from, but I just thought it had a good ring to it. Sort of, you had the WZWA where you had sort of the same people. You had Elite Alliance, this and that, everything. Everyone's sort of doing their own thing, and you just fucking come in. It's like, this is all bullshit. Here is the revolution.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I proposed that idea to you, and you loved it.
Straight away, I was just like, "That's really good." And
Yeah.
at that time, I was in the middle of thinking of JD Flame as a babyface. So to bring you back as a heel is it's good. Now it's something different you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to be the bounty hunter anymore. You can do something different.
And I think it added a different facet to my character, because I don't think I had much character as the face. My character as the face is he's a good wrestler. He wears a jacket. He wears aviator.
He does good moves, and he wears aviators and.
You know what I mean? That was my character. But here, I could actually come out with a bit of attitude, a bit of cheek, in your face, sort of, and just lay it down. Very arrogant. I feel like that's what my character is quite a lot.
Yeah. Who thinks he's the revolution?
Yeah. What sort of person you have to be to think that you are the solution or you are the saviour.
So before we even get back to your return, I actually just want to ask you about your time away in Israel and what did you do?
So I was on.
Were you with Barrett a lot?
No, so
because he was doing some.
So there's hundreds of Israel programs that you can go on. My particular program
was it called Tinder?
No, Tinder Israel. No, it was called Aviv. It's organised by the Australasian Union of Jewish Students, and essentially it was just a 5-month tourism program around Israel. Israel's a small country, so you can, if you spend 5 months there, you can travel the entire place, go to every corner.
All different kinds of pussy, yeah.
Nah. Israeli girls are cold as
the fish. Really?
Yeah.
All Israelis are cold.
Yeah, they're
really?
They want nothing. They don't like speaking English to you because it's not their first language. Okay. There's something about that language barrier that they really just don't like, and it's really hard to break it.
Okay.
But yeah, so that aside, so yeah, I just spent 5 months traveling the place, tourism. We did a bit of volunteering as well. For a couple weeks, we got billeted out to actual Israeli kids' houses and got to live with them as a family, as if we were living in a community there. Got to spend a month on a kibbutz, which is like a farming community run on socialist ideals. the one we stayed on wasn't socialist anymore. It was just a farming community, you could say. So you got to, you know, sort of do a bit of work, you know, living into this collective community. So yeah, spent 5 months that, which was awesome, great time. And then I spent a month after that travelling around Europe with Johnston. We went to the UK, Scotland, Belgium, Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Yeah, Amsterdam for 2 weeks.
Is that where the pussy comes into play?
Yeah, the window shopping.
Heard a lot about it.
Yeah, no, it's I was going. We went to a couple music festivals. That was awesome. That was some of the best moments of my life. Just having that gap year, you know, finishing year 12 exams, having that freedom, and just 6 months of
Did you get to
carefree.
see Barrett in
Yeah,
Israel?
so a lot of the time, the various programs would come together at these like collective events. Like all the Australian Israel programs would come together for this one community event, whether it be like a concert or a show or a presentation with speakers and all of that. So all these programs would come together. So you'd see all these people who you went to school with but went on different programs. So I'd see Barrett fairly, I wouldn't say fairly often, but I saw him occasionally.
Did he mention to you at all about his little stint in Israeli pro wrestling or anything?
He did, I think.
Because that story in his podcast, to me, was so interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
About what he went through just to get that one match.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think he did tell me. I think I might have seen photos, something like that. But, yeah, he's just like, hey, dude, I had a match here, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. You know, that's really cool.
I just think, imagine those Israelis got to see Delcanho versus Clint Marshall in Israel.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
He should have told me. He should have messaged me.
I
would have tried it.
He should have, because he needed.
We tried to in Asia.
Yeah.
We tried to find a pro wrestling fan. I said to him, I can't wrestle, but you still can, so we're just going to go tell them we have pro training.
And then we did the research, and it turns out these Cambodian federations have ties to the dojo from NJPW, and we're like, alright, these guys are legit.
Let's not mess with them.
This isn't some busted ass, like,
Israeli feds.
Yeah, you know, this is like, you know, these guys are...
The winner gets a plate of food.
Well, sir, you want tuk-tuk?
No,
Marijuana.
Alright, okay, let's get back to your return. You return and you get to wrestle JD Flame, and you turn heel.
Awesome heel
amazing match.
Really
underrated
good
match.
Yeah, it was just clean. That's what I think. I think it was very simple. If you go there were no crazy spots. Nothing
I don't
over
think
the
you guys
top.
left the ring.
Yeah, I don't think so too. Our plan was just like, let's get a nice clean match that flows, that tells the story and does what it needs to do.
And gets over
because the point of the match wasn't to put on a show. It was my returning match. The point was to have me turn heel. That was the point of the match.
And everyone would have expected in your return you get the win.
No one expected it.
No one expected JD Flame to get the clean win straight
No
up.
one was expecting the... And no one was expecting JD to get the clean win, and certainly no one was expecting the heel turn.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You can tell in the crowd reaction. It wasn't a forced reaction. It's like, what? You know?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's me thinking of what is a true to life story. Sometimes there isn't that fairy tale return.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make that return and everyone's thinking Clint Marshall's back.
Yeah.
Clint Marshall's back. He loses. No one thinks that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And JD Flame gets to get over his cutter as a move that can come out of nowhere no matter how beaten down he is, and he can win with it.
Yeah.
Which you guys sold that great. And then we had the thing with Fazer, and you guys glanced at each other just quickly, and that was kind of teasing a little bit of a possible tag team, because in the back of my mind I always thought that might be a pretty cool tag team, but that doesn't come for a few months.
But that was a good match, and I was really happy with that match.
Yeah. So the revolutionary begins.
I think I came back the next match, cut this, good promo. It's the first proper promo that I was able to cut with a real character behind it, not like I'm going to win the championship, I'm the best here.
This is something you can sink your teeth into creatively.
Yeah, exactly, and I did. I got up there. I said, standing before you is the, ex-ICWS heavyweight champion, ex-ICWS hardcore champion. Not only that, but I held these 2 titles at the same time. You know, I'm able to get in their face with that heel angle. You know, say like, you know, you're dealing with the real deal here. Like, this isn't just some pussyfooting Clint Marshall, you know, grey singlet and Converse shoes sort of thing. Which, by the way, Luke Harper stole my costume.
Unbelievable.
I'm going to sue them.
Just like Kevin Owens stole Barrett.
Well, just like Eric Rollins being called Big Red. No. We had Big Red first.
Yeah. Motherfuckers.
But we won't put that in the line in a match because we know how that will turn.
Anyway.
First small red.
Yeah. But yeah, I was able to come back throughout this promo with a proper character, announce myself as the revolutionary. Here I am, keep your eye on me. And it was cool. It was actually fun. You know, all that, you know, imagination that I've been playing whilst I was overseas of like what my characters are going to be. Like, this was a start, and I thought it was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I actually have some depth to my, you know, to the character now. Yeah. And I think people have become more interested now.
So, are you... You know, I mean, I know when we were talking about ICWS, you would say, like, you know, whatever happens, happens. But are you at least, you know, away from the wrestling, at least a little bit invested with the character and thinking about it away from wrestling? You're thinking, like, you know, oh, I can't wait for the next show so I can continue doing this thing.
So, again, I was never fussed with, like, whether I win or lose. I was never going to, like, argue with whatever creative direction you wanted me to go. But, yeah, like, with this new character and stuff... it was cool to finally, you know, be able to say like, oh, geez, what am I going to develop now? What am I going to do? What's my next heel move? Yeah. It gave me a bit more flexibility with the direction I wanted to take. And it was also cool because I think it served as some sort of reflection of my real life self. I mean, I think I'm sort of a naturally arrogant person, not in the sense that I'm a dick about it, but like I'll make a claim and I'll back it up, and then if I achieve something or if I've made the claim and I've backed it up, I'll let you know that like, hey, I've done this. You know, I always like to say, you know, if Novak Djokovic comes out and says I'm the #1 tennis player in the world, is he being arrogant or is he being honest? And he's being honest. He is the #1 tennis player in the world. And I'm not saying I'm the best at anything, but like, if you're going to make a statement, you got to come and back it up. And
it's not cocky if you back it up.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like
it's just telling the truth.
There is always that element of, you know, being humble, being modest and stuff. But that's what I liked about the character is, you know, I could, you know, keep myself really reserved as Zibby. Yeah. But, you know, I could come to the ring and be in your face and be like, you know, this is me, look at you, look at me, like, this is what we're dealing with, you know, what are you going to do, sort of thing. And it was cool to sort of have that pseudo-reality portrayal of my real self, which, you know...
that word, pseudo-reality.
Pseudo-reality.
Very nice. Okay, so your next match is at Frostbite 2013 against your fanboy Jack Wallace.
Fanboy Jack Wallace.
From what I've heard, huge Clint Marshall mark from back in the day. Huge.
Didn't know that.
He made a top 20, like, holy shit moments of 2012. He made sure that the Clint Marshall debut was a little bit up the list. From what I've heard, Jack Wallace was a huge Clint Marshall fan. So when he found out that he got to wrestle you at Frostbite, which is supposed to be the second biggest show of the year, meant a lot to him. Yeah, and I was supposed to be gearing towards some sort of thing with you and Monet, which
I think that was a all right match, just all right.
I reckon it was one of his best outings. Yeah, I mean he gives you the Hurricane Runner off the wooden seat and stuff from the outside. There was a lot of cool stuff. Yeah. And apparently, Men's Abs from YouTube loves it. You heard of Men's Abs?
No.
Men's Abs is this dude on YouTube who is obsessed with you, Rex Regum, and Jack Wallace. And, that's some hot punishment there. Oh, I love it when Clint Marshall delivers hot punishment to Jack Wallace. And I'm like... I'm supposed to be a backyard fed, not helping out these fucking pedophiles. Watch some older dude beat on some skinny underage dude. Jesus Christ.
I'm over 18, so technically it's not pedophilia. But still stay
Well,
away.
he was underage.
Stay away from me, man.
No, he's
He's saying
yeah.
Keynes.
But yeah, it was a good match. And
Did he swipe right to me?
It was,
Yeah, the only thing the thing I say about that match is I was looking forward to it because it was a real chance for me to show a strength, because Jack being a really skinny guy, I was keen to be able to just get someone you can sort of throw around and treat as a ragdoll, and I think we did that pretty well. I think I was able to do it, pick him off the ground, hold him up here, throw him onto the shoulders, do all of that stuff.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
to Jack.
The only thing I will say about that is we had an angle at the end, and the angle at the end, as classic heel, was to be for me to hit the finisher, go for the pin, and then break up the pin myself, just so I could continue the punishment, and then Monet was supposed to come.
That's right.
Come out.
You win by DQ.
Yeah, I win by DQ because he attacked
Because at that
me.
stage, Jack had lost a few matches.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't let him get pinned again, even though it's Clint Marshall. But I can't let Clint lose the second match back. So it was like one of those things.
So he came, we did the spot, I hit the finisher, I go for the 1-2, and he kicks out. So he's kicked out of my finisher, which is just like, Jack, what have you done? you've delegitimized my, ultimate move.
Yeah.
And so I've said to him, I'm like, alright, I'm going to hit the fucking scissors kick at this point. I'm going to hit the signature move, and you're going to stay down, let me break up the pin. And so we do that, and then the match continues.
Gotcha,
but
okay.
Again, I didn't really care. Alright, you screwed up. You weren't meant to kick out, and you did. Big whoop, Who remembers it now? Did anyone listening?
No one is still outraged to this day.
Yeah.
I can't live on because of that happening.
Exactly.
But yeah, Monet comes out to break up the pin. The next show
was supposed to set up some sort of.
The next show was Hardcore Hell. The franchise were against Circus Royale in the tag team match at the start of the show. After the match, you were going to go out there and attack both the franchise, beat up on Monet, and it was supposed to turn into a singles match between you and him. But you felt that it made more sense for it to just be a fight, a beat down, and that's it. So at Hardcore Hell, you didn't actually act for a wrestling match. You just go out there and you beat up Monet.
That's right.
You hit him with a trash can, you laid him out with the supernova, but it was supposed to turn into a match. And I kept saying to you, "Are you sure? Are you sure
Yeah,
you've made all the effort to come here?
Yeah.
Are you sure you don't want to have an actual match because you win?"
And that's the
but you're like,
difference
no. I think it makes more sense to just me beat him up.
And I think it did. I think it's sort of weird if you come out and it's like, oh yeah, he's just had a match, I'm going to beat you down, now we're going to have a match. It's like, well, hold on, who's made this match? Like, where's this match come from? Why would Monet agree to a match after he's just had a tag match?
And that's a fault of me.
So for me, again, coming from there, I had more of a creative input, more passion for the storyline, because it seemed like a more legitimate federation where people sort of took it a bit more seriously, where it wasn't just guys coming out and having fun. It was like, hey, we've got a YouTube channel, we actually have a following, we sort of have to deliver somewhat of a good product, otherwise no one's going to watch us. Not that it matters whether people watch us, but it's sort of like a pride thing to know that we're proud of what we produce and what we put on. I
think I was just the fan in me wanted to see you versus me. That's what it was.
Yeah,
and we got it eventually. It took a few years, but we got it.
Yeah, absolutely. But so it was just me saying, you know what, I don't care. I don't have to have a match, because I think at that time I was more than happy to just come and chill with the guys, because I had Barrett, Johnston, Fleischer was there now. So I had a good group of close friends who I could always mingle with, and then you had the usual guys who you banter with and stuff. So I was more than happy to just come there for the day, do my segment. And because I thought it made more sense.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was more than happy to not wrestle, because it creatively I felt it was the better option.
Okay. We get to Christmas Carnage 2013. I'm not sure if there's a show between them which you miss. I don't know. I doubt it, because I've just gone straight to it. I would have written down that you missed the show.
Can't imagine.
But Christmas Carnage, we were strapped for time. I remember the last minute saying to you, "Do you want to wrestle? Because I can just pop you in a match against someone." And you're like,
I had a
no.
match against.
I think I was going to say to you, do you want to wrestle a masked wrestler and get a quick win? You're like, no. So you were in just the Battlefield Brawl. Basically, I was trying to start 3 different mid-card feuds at once because of the Battlefield Brawl.
Yeah.
And because of the show. So
just to stop you, did I ever verse Daniel Lowe? I vaguely.
that's later next year.
Later. Okay, cool.
So during the show, there was a segment. I don't know who it was between, but like this guy was fighting this guy. After the match, you attacked Chaos, and then someone attacked you because of a previous issue. Then someone else attacked them because of there was like 4 or 5 guys fighting for the fucking sake of it. And I came out and announced all these matches for Resolution. One of them was you against Chaos. We get to the Battlefield Brawl. You eliminate Chaos. And that's supposed to set up the scene for him defending the World Hardcore title against you.
And then Luke
at
Monet
Resolution.
does the gyro kick.
Yeah, and he
which
eliminates
was dope.
you. So he got one over you.
Yeah. Which actually ties in pretty well, you know.
Yeah. So Resolution 2, you wrestled Chaos. I think it was the 3rd last match of the night. We'd seen a fucking hell of a lot that night. It was a triple threat ladder match.
Yeah.
There was me versus Rusty. A few other pretty epic matches that took place. So you
that was one of the few events where I stayed till the end.
Yeah, you were there till the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so wrestling Chaos again at Resolution.
Pretty nervous going into it, I'll be honest, because it was for the hardcore title, wasn't it? Yeah.
The World Hardcore title, which we just
title at the show
taken.
of the year.
Yeah.
So you know they were expecting big things, and the only condition I just said to Chaos is like, hey man, I don't do thumbtacks. I don't do like straight onto a barbed wire. I'll do a table. I'll take chair shots. Hit me with kendo sticks, whatever. But nothing that'll pierce my skin. I just don't want that. I don't need that. But given that, I thought we put on a pretty cool match. There was the segment. What was it? Where Chaos tries to... I think I slammed Chaos onto the thumbtacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good segment. The one thing I remember on that match is Chaos had his police baton or baton.
Oh, I watched
he had this big wooden
fucking
police baton.
with
And what was supposed to happen is I was supposed to go for like the hip toss or something. He catches the arm. I go for something else. He blocks that. And he was supposed to just hit me over the head, not really.
Like the fake version of it.
Bang, stamp the foot and stuff. Instead, he swings this thick wooden baton and you just hear this clean, crisp on the back of my temple here.
Oh, fuck.
And fuck me, did that hurt. And then after that, he gets me, he twists my arm using this baton and to get me to the ground, and that actually hurts as well. So I'm trying to caress my bruise from this brutal wooden baton shot, and now he's twisting my arm, and I'm like, oh shit, this is getting real. But yeah, that match was awesome. I thought the match lived up to the hype. I thought it delivered. I thought the ending was brutal, where I get the chaos theory. Is that what it?
Yeah,
that's what it
is.
Through
the table.
Onto the barbed wire table.
Oh, okay.
And I actually took a brutal...
you had a massive scratch.
Yeah, I had this huge scratch.
Really? Okay.
No harm. It was just... I fucking hit that barbed wire hard, So I had this huge scratch, but that looked pretty brutal. It sold well, and I was happy with that match. And I think that's the second time Chaos and I had versus each other.
I think he had a couple
third?
of battles in maybe third.
Yeah,
he had a couple of triple threats with him, and you involved as well.
Yeah, so we already knew where we were at, and it was fun to work with him. To get the weapons and have a guy's happy to get you slammed through shit and stuff. That was cool. I enjoyed that match.
Cool. The same show, Fazer loses to Mykonos.
Mm-hmm.
But the following show, we at Combat Crisis. You wrestle Chaos. No, so you wrestle Three Dog. Fazer wrestles Chaos. You both get the clean win on both of them. And the Revolutionaries are formed after the second match.
That wasn't a clean win though. With Three Dog because Zach spat the water.
Did he help you win?
Yeah,
he helped you win. So
he helped me win.
We could,
but that was still a good match with me and Three Dog. I mean, I wasn't expecting, because usually my thing is like with the power moves, being able to lift them up, throw them over, show my strength, and that. That was never going to happen with Three Dog. Three Dog's a massive guy.
Yeah.
The fact that I was able to just like hold him like that or get him on my shoulders, I don't even know if that happened.
I think you lifted him like that.
Yeah, like in the your scoop slam, body slam position. Even that was like, whoa, like how the fuck is he doing that? But so that was cool. That was fun to wrestle. And then so
this is the first time you ever wrestled Aaron. And the only time
I took a really good last ride in that match. That's what
you jumped and he caught you.
And he caught me,
like
and he actually got the elevation, and it was a clean. Because Aaron's at least 6 foot tall. Yeah, he's a big guy, so like that was a
6 foot tall and 6 foot wide.
Yeah. He's a cube.
So the Revolutionaries are formed. Are you happy with the idea of teaming with Zach?
Yep.
Did Justin ever give you any?
No, Justin never gave me any flack for that.
I'll let you know what it's like to team with.
I wasn't even.
You weren't privy to it until he said it.
I wasn't even aware of the drama that Zach and Justin were having.
At this point, I think he'd softened a little bit and he was alright.
Yeah, I mean it was. This would have been quite a while after the band broke up. So the band broke up middle of 2013, like practically as soon as I got back, July, August, around then. And this would have been, it's Christmas Carnage, it's after Christmas.
Oh no, this is February.
February, so like it's been ages, so the wounds are healed. Not, sleeping dogs lie. I was very, very behind the idea. I thought it was cool. I thought me and him would have had cool chemistry. And I think it was good to have, the revolutionary character and to have someone who was contributing as well to the revolutionary character.
Yeah. Do you feel you get enough mic time at this point to really keep getting that character over? Or is it kind of like... Am I forgetting to let you know, cut a promo?
Yeah.
I think at the time you weren't.
We cut the promo after the match with Aaron, said like, we're the Revolutionaries, we're here to stay, sort of thing. So I thought that was good. We established that. So I thought up to that point, the character development was still on the way up. I didn't think anything was dying down. I thought the character still had enough... momentum behind it.
Okay.
That's how I felt. I mean, you can always say, you could have thrown in a promo and this and that, and probably could have, but would it have made the character any more believable or legitimate? Maybe. I don't think it harmed it by not having it happen.
Okay. Well, the following show, not sure what show that's called. Something. Whatever it is. You have a tag team hardcore match against Chaos and Three Dog for the World Hardcore title.
Or Lana's Arm?
No, not yet. No, that's a little bit later. But I don't know what the show's called. But maybe Pro Wrestling or something. You and Fazer take on Chaos and Three. You just beat them both in singles matches. You take them on in a tag team match, hardcore tag team match for the World Hardcore title. So if you get the pin or Fazer gets the win, you're the World Hardcore champion. If Chaos gets the win, then Three Dog retains his title, basically.
Yeah.
So I remember specifically the end spot of the match is a double powerbomb through a table.
Yeah.
So thoughts and memories on the end of that.
Took us a while to set up because there was no tables. We had to set up doors on chairs.
Yes.
And the chairs were broken or they weren't holding up, so the doors would keep falling off. So we just had these guys up on the turnbuckles. I don't even know how it got into a powerbomb segment. Oh, we got up and it was just
it was
bam.
Both at the same time.
Yeah,
from the turnbuckles.
So we're trying to set up these two tables in the middle of the ring to like get them, as it looks like we're going to superplex both of them at the same time.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And that was the angle, and it just took us so long to set up the spots that. It was a bit disappointing, but like beyond our control. Like we had these massive doors trying to balance it on two broken chairs.
Yeah.
What could we do? But like from what I remember, that was fun. I think Zach and I threw in a 3D Dudley Boys spot just because like that was always a team that we.
Oh yeah, that was your thing.
Fleischer loves the Dudley.
Yeah, so he was always just like, let's just throw it in, why not? Because, you know, at the end of the day, it's still backyard wrestling. We can still have a bit of a joke around and pretend to be professionals.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had that match. I thought it was a good match. Again, a lot of it was impromptu, I think, planned on the day. A couple spots we discussed on Facebook. But yeah, other than that, you know, again, it was just a fun match to have, and it was good finally getting to actually team with Zach.
And I believe that was the only time you got to, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
The next show, Hard Time 3, Fazer doesn't make the show. I think he might have had football commitments, but
I think
was it raining on that show?
No, not this one.
No, that was
Wasn't the raining one.
No,
Okay.
this was because Zach had done. Was this because he? Yeah, it was either footy commitments. Was this by the time Zach had done his knee?
No, this was his shoulder.
Shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh, poor bloke.
But on this show, this is the first time you wrestle Brian Lowe.
Yep.
So great match, you go over.
Mm-hmm.
Same show, I believe. Antilochus loses to Acid. So this is during the part where Rebellion are kind of
deteriorating.
a little bit, yeah, because I had been having a few problems with them, and they had to put over a few people at the time. But you got to wrestle Brian Lowe, and that was a pretty good match.
Yeah,
and
I was happy with that. Don't have much of a recollection from it, but all I know is that we had it was impromptu. It was on the day,
yeah,
wasn't it?
it was on the day.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, we put together a pretty solid match, I thought.
Because I'm pretty sure you and Zach had some. Oh no, I think you guys were actually at the time supposed to have a feud with Rebellion and a tag team feud.
Yeah.
But because of Zach not showing up, I had to put Jacob against someone else. So.
Yep. But again, I thought that match was pretty good.
Yeah. You both miss Autumn Brawl.
Yeah.
This show you were supposed to win the tag team titles that night and then lose them the next show back to the franchise. Because of this, Fazer is removed from the roster.
Yeah.
That was the raining one, wasn't
Yeah, so what happened here is it was pissing down with rain that day. I'd just come from, what would it have been? I had just finished umpiring a footy match, so I was already pretty tired as it was. And I phoned up Zach, because I knew we had the match, and I said, Zach, like, what do you want to do? Because I said to him, I said, like, hey man, I'm happy to go up there and wrestle our match, but it's really up to you. And he just said, like, look, it's pissing down with rain. I refuse to wrestle in this weather. And I fully sympathised with him. I could see his position.
And the thing was, when I heard back that he wasn't coming, it actually didn't rain.
Yeah.
After that.
That's
so
actually,
I was like, he could have done the match. It didn't rain after that.
But he was like, you know, it's pissing down with rain. I'm not wrestling in the wet. It's fucking dangerous, which it was. Like, you can't deny that wrestling on
At least on that tarp.
a tarp in the wet on ropes and stuff is not gonna, you know, end badly.
I guess I was under the mindset of we all did it.
Yeah.
Without really thinking, he just played a footy game in the rain.
Yeah.
So the last thing he wants us to getting dry is to get in the rain again.
Yeah.
But to us, it's like, well, we only do this once a month.
I could understand that, but like I said to Zach, I said, like, hey man, look, it's your call. If I'm happy to go up there, I had nothing on, but like, if you're not going up there, I'm not, because, you know, I'm not going to turn up once again when I was supposed to be teamed with you and then end up just wrestling a singles match.
You see, you got a free pass because you were at the previous show.
Yeah.
This is the second show in a row that he didn't come to.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, I'm sorry, he's out now because that's a spot that someone else could have got. That's a tag title win.
Yeah.
And he decided not to come. That was my perspective.
Yep.
Didn't really think about the situation, really, but at the time I was annoyed.
But Zach
you
and I
messaged me after that and you were like, I'm really sorry, I still want to be a part of WZWA. I don't know what you're going to do from here, but you know, I'm still available. You know.
At this point, this is 2014, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think after those two events where I had the match against Lowe and then this match where I didn't turn up, I think it sort of started at that point. You'd reached the peak and it was sort of a bit on the way down now.
And I feel like
because I felt like we had this momentum and
There was momentum, total momentum.
and it didn't
didn't get the payoff.
Didn't get the payoff, yeah.
And, from there, I was always like, I always had a plan B just in case you weren't going to show up. It was only one occasion that you weren't able to show.
Yeah.
But there was still always like, well, I'm not sure now, so I'm just going to put a plan B in place. I was like that with Chaos, because Chaos kept missing shows as well. So, pardon me.
You're all right.
So at this point, I've written down that it feels like you're lost in the shuffle because of Fazer's departure, and you're supposed to do stuff in the tag division against Rebellion and Franchise. But you do come back at Rampage against Brandon Cage to get a squash victory. So nothing really going on with the character itself.
No.
But Brandon Cage supposed to win against a masked wrestler, and then on the same show, I'm sorry, that's not happening now, you're losing to Clint Marshall. So I know he wasn't happy about it, but how did you feel about wrestling Brandon? Was that a good match?
I had no idea who he was. I rocked up and it's like, yeah, you're wrestling Brandon Cage. I'm like, who the fuck is Brandon Cage?
He had just debuted. I believe he debuted the show before that you missed.
One thing I will say about him, he was very charismatic. Like, he was a very skinny guy, but I thought he had if he sort of like buffed up, if he got on the roids, like being completely honest, if he got on the roids and stuff, because he was a tall guy as well.
Yeah.
And he had that look about him where if he like actually got real buff and real strong, that I thought he could have, he would have had a very legitimate look to him, because I think he had the proper wrestling tights and all of that. So, and creatively as well, with all the springboard stuff as well, he came there with like all these ideas and he really put them into action, which was cool in the match.
There was actually even a suggestion from the roster that maybe he replaced Fazer in the Revolutionaries.
Yeah, I remember
but
that.
I said no.
Yeah.
Because I still wasn't sure about him.
Yeah.
And
Would have been a weird
I'm pretty sure that was a good decision, because that would have been a second tag team partner that would have disappeared.
Yeah. I mean, the character at the time was sort of looking a bit lost, because you formed this tag team, you had a tag titles or hardcore match, for the tag team match for the hardcore title.
Yeah.
You had one tag match together and then you're gone.
Yeah.
So, like, at that point, you're sort of looking a bit stupid.
Yeah. But at this point, I'm thinking, I don't know what to do with Clint Marshall, because I had these plans in place, and now I'm not sure what to do with him, so I'm just going to get him to beat this dude, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah. And, again, from what I remember, the match was okay. It was all impromptu on the day. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Alright, so at this stage, I'm under the impression that DJ's leaving to do pro wrestling, so I'm like, well, I need to get him to wrestle as many people as he's never wrestled before as soon as I can before he's gone. So I thought, well, I'll pop in a quick feud with him and Clint Marshall, just thinking on my feet.
Yep.
You guys were supposed to wrestle one match, but he did not show up to that event, so I didn't know what to do with you.
Do I smell or something?
I didn't know what to do, so I was like, Brian Lowe's opponent for the show did not show up, so I was like, I'm sorry, Zib, but you got to wrestle Lowe second time. And you said to me, but I just wrestled him, and I'm like, I know, but this is just a rematch, I'm sorry that this hasn't worked out. You're supposed to do this thing with DJ, because you did give DJ at the previous show a kick to the face. Because after your match with Brandon, he came out and inducted Brandon into his team of Steel, and then you give him a fucking pump kick to the face and say, this isn't about you, it's about me.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's supposed to go from there, but he missed the next show, and from there you wrestle Brian Lowe in a rematch where he turns heel on a heel, which doesn't make any sense, but this is what I had to work
I don't
with,
even remember wrestling him the second time.
No, that was the second time, and it was better than the first one. The first one was already great, and the second one was even better, because it was telling a story of Antilochus trying to convince him to turn heel.
That's right,
Antilochus came back out, because he was sent backstage, he came back out, do it.
Yeah,
throws him a chair.
Throws him a chair,
he hits him with a chair.
Right.
So unfortunately you were, the one that had to take the fall for that, but it was just to help their storyline get over.
Again, I didn't really care.
So it was DJ's fault, but it would have been cool to see you and DJ at that show, but it doesn't matter, because at the next show, actually not at the next show, the next show was Clash of the Triads, where we have a little ICWS team taking on the Radical Army.
And we started teasing. At this point, it was already decided that it would be Marshall Delcanho for the last match.
Yes.
So we
teased it,
that.
right? Yep. So it was Delcanho, Alex Stone, Mykonos.
And at that point,
JD Flame at ringside.
Everyone already knew.
Dan Zeppelin, DJ.
Everyone already knew that that was going to be the match.
Yeah.
The next resolution. So, you know, when you get that final moment where he tags in Barrett.
And he comes in and he gets in slowly and he's like, everyone's like, oh shit, we remember this.
Yeah. So that was cool. That was a good match. I mean, we got eliminated.
That was the best
round.
match of the show.
Yeah. You reckon?
Yep. I've watched all of them back and just everything that happened to that match, the crowd reacted to everything. You guys coming out to your old ICWS theme songs, and it was really cool.
Nostalgia,
it was really cool.
I should watch that match again. There's a lot of matches I should rewatch.
You should.
But yeah, no, that was fun doing that, especially when Barrett and I teased, and we actually got to do some proper chaining and some singles stuff.
Just to remind everyone about what the feud once was.
Exactly.
And that was a really cool show, I reckon. Clash of the Trios, the Trios tournament was
I think the Trios is a cool concept. I mean, Lucha Underground doesn't have a tag titles; they have a Trios title. So I'm pretty sure. Which, hey, why not mix it up? Sort of thing.
Change it up a bit. Following show, you wrestled DJ at a show called The Musical.
Yeah,
WZWA The Musical. And you wrestled DJ for the first and only time.
Yeah.
What's it like wrestling DJ?
I was very apprehensive coming into it, obviously wrestling DJ, but he actually surprised me just because he's still a big sturdy guy.
Yeah.
So he still has a presence when he steps into that ring. So all I was making sure to do is I said like, hey, hit me hard, you know what I mean? Like, throw your arm if you want to clothesline me, you know. What I will say, we got a great reaction when he did the sentons on me. Because he did one senton on me, and it just looked like he's hit me with full force, and he has.
Yeah.
And then the crowd started, one more time, and he sort of looked at me, and then I've just said, like, yeah, I've given him the nod. It's like, I'll take it. So he does another senton. But that was great. One thing DJ's breath absolutely stunk in that match because he came to the ring with a cigar.
Oh, it was a cigar
and he'd been drinking the entire show, so his breath already smelled like beers and stuff. Smashed this cigar on the way in, and then there was the segment where he does the thing where he like bites his opponent and stuff.
God,
and so he's there like and I'm just getting this air from his mouth, smelly tobacco beer thing, and I was like, I would have tapped right there if I could have, but that was a cool match. I remember the one caught because I cut the promo before the match. Everyone's there. And it's like, I'm the revolutionary, and you're making me face off against this Jamaican wallpaper. Because I remember he came to the ring in his yellow and black and the green pants and stuff, and that crowd loved that call. Yeah. I was pretty proud of that.
It was really good, yeah. It was cool to see you wrestle DJ.
Yeah, because I think DJ had been very keen to see him, to wrestle me for a long time. Yeah. So when it finally happened, he was
he was always like that with the ICWS original boys. Like, the people they didn't get to wrestle. Like, he never actually got to wrestle Alex Stone.
Yeah.
So I think he would like to have that, and you and him, it ended up getting to happen, so that was pretty cool.
And yeah, I think we had to finish the match with the scissors kick, because I wasn't going to get DJ up for the pump handle. But again, thought the match was okay.
Yeah, it was great. So we're kicking off the second feud now with Delcanho, after you attacked JD Flame after the match, saying that you want a title shot.
That was with DJ.
That was after the DJ match.
I called him out.
Yeah, he said, I've been doing nothing. I want a title shot. JD Flame says, I'm sorry, I don't think you've won enough matches. You've just been floating around the mid card. You haven't been doing too much, so I'm sorry, but you don't earn a title shot yet. So you decide that you want to beat some sense into him, basically. Delcanho makes the save. And then later on in the show, You cost Delcanho the backyard title, and when I'm looking at this is me trying to fix the direction of Clint Marshall and trying to make the character important again. So that I think me and Barrett were very much in dialogue about what we were doing with this feud, and I just wanted to make it, important that what you two were doing was good for Clint Marshall, the character, the revolutionary.
Yeah, I think Barrett, his entire time, his intention was to really put me over as like one of the top guys in the Fed, and like I greatly appreciate that, because I mean even throughout all of this, wrestling WZWA still wasn't my top priority. I had a lot of other things.
It was always a case of you were there for your match and you were gone.
Yeah, most of the time. So I really appreciated Barrett when he wanted me to, he's like, I really want them to push you and stuff, and I'm like, thanks, man, but push me where, it's like off a cliff. Nah. It was just like, I'm glad that you want me to excel, but it's like, I don't know if I'm that committed to the thing. But like, I appreciated the gesture of that. He was really trying to push for that.
Well, I think so far throughout these interviews with you so far, I think you've made it pretty clear how you feel about everything. But I know there was a stage where people were thinking, is he committed? Does he care? So do you want to clear the air about that sort of criticism?
Well, I mean,
I think people take coming for your match and leaving as not committed. That's just
I
because a lot of people come
I see that as the
thing.
epitome of my commitment, because
you could just not come.
I could easily just not have rocked up. I could
Yeah.
have said, I'm only going to be here for half an hour. Screw it.
25 minutes away.
It's 25 minutes away. That's 2 hours of my day gone just so I can wrestle for 15 minutes. So, I didn't want it to come across as that. Obviously, for some people, it may have. I hope people understand, for anyone listening, especially the guys in the Federation, got a lot of things on my plate going for me at the moment. At that time, I'm studying a science double major at university. I was umpiring. I'm in the state development squad for my AFL umpiring at the moment, balancing that with
Tinder was created.
Yeah, no, fuck Tinder. Balancing that with an already existing social life that wasn't the Fed and stuff. It was hard, but I kept coming back to the shows, and I kept wrestling because I truly loved it. It was something I still enjoyed. If it wasn't something I enjoyed doing, I wouldn't be doing it. So if people thought I didn't care or I wasn't committed and stuff, given my circumstances, I thought I was a very committed person. I apologize that I couldn't stay for most of the day, that I couldn't watch your matches. Trust me, if I could, I would. And I guess I'll leave it at that. That if my circumstances were different, if I had the time, if it was possible, I would be there all day. But sometimes, things don't work in my favor. Most often than not, they didn't. But I always rocked up. I always messaged you, what's my match?
Yeah.
What am I doing? Who am I facing? And I got there, I put on a show for people, and I don't think I disappointed.
No.
Very often. I think
very rarely.
I think when I stepped in that ring and I put on a show, people watched because they knew that, like, hey, maybe he's not as passionate or he's not as involved in the politics and the backstage stuff. But they knew that when I stepped in that ring, they were going to be entertained.
Yeah. And I always saw it as, well, I'm glad that he's committed to coming and doing his thing.
Yeah.
Look, I know some people aren't able to be there the whole show or do it to do their thing and then just sit there and watch the other things. Maybe they got other things going. I'm like, fair enough. As long as you can come and do your thing. I'm only asking for maybe 2 hours in.
Yeah. And that's what I did. I did as much as I could, given the circumstances. So I don't want, people to have any hard feelings towards me. That's where I was at.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, I'm sure everyone will understand once they've heard it from you.
I hope so.
Okay, the next show is Hardcore Hell, tables match, as booked by Commissioner JD Flame. He wants Delcanho and Clint Marshall to get along because we know if they're at odds, there's a big problem.
Yep. This was a great angle.
And
this was an awesome
I believe this was Barrett's idea, and because he was having a heavy hand in what he was doing with your feud with him.
Yep.
Because I wanted him to, because this is his last real
because Barrett
storyline.
wanted to.
It's his last storyline, and I'm like, well, if this is whatever you feel's best, we'll do that, okay?
Yeah.
'Cause I want you to feel happy with what you're doing with your last storyline. So you and Delcanho team up against Rex Regan and Killawatt Kaos again. So how did you feel that went and worked out for you?
Thought the match was good. I thought we played that sort of like tension tag team angle pretty well. Where you get the tag when they don't want the tag, and it's here now.
You
now
sold it all very well throughout the whole match. Yeah,
I thought from that point of view we worked really well. We were able to convince people that, hey, these guys don't really get along, but we're making them get along and stuff. When's it going to boil over? What's going to happen?
Yeah. Something's going to happen. They're waiting for it.
And then when I make the save with Delcanho on the table, about to get lay out and push Rex Regan onto Chaos, and it's like, all right, I'm going to get up.
You get up, and then
it's just like,
you look down,
look
back,
and people again. The
this
crowd.
is the epitome of a performer.
Yeah.
You do those little nuances. You take one look at him, you look back. You look at him. Yeah. Nah, this is a better option. I'm going to fuck him over. Yeah. It's great.
You know what I mean? And again, I thought, the crowd reacted. We got that reaction from the crowd. You could hear it. So like, I know that whatever I was doing, I was still performing. I was still, I was still selling this character, the storyline well. And that was an awesome angle. Did I cut a promo after I put him through the table? May have, may not have. Not too sure.
Possibly, I can't remember.
Either way, I thought that was a really cool angle, a really way, and obviously that sets up. It's like, all right, all bets are off. Like, we're fucking going at it. Yeah.
So, okay, the next show is actually between this one and Christmas Carnage, where Fazer comes back. Gentleman's Duel. I wanted you to wrestle Dark Ice. I was like, Clint Marshall has to be the next one. It's got to be someone that Dark Ice has never wrestled, just to get over his storyline of Dark Ice's fight night, just before we do this NC Viper thing. I always wanted to see you and Dark Ice wrestle. You never got to an ICWS, so this was the opportunity. And we had the Delcanho thing. You screwed him out of the backyard title. He screws you out of winning this match. So your thoughts on finally, after all these years, wrestling Dark Ice?
Don't have much of a memory of the match, to be honest.
I think it was like November last year.
Yeah, weird.
You were only able to come for your match and go.
Yeah.
And you went before I'd even arrived at the house.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that was the day that I was with Tommy Taboo, and I had to get him organised.
I think at the time, I had a lot.
If it was in November, it would have been exam.
Yeah, it was exam time.
I was like, can you please just come just to do this match,
there was a lot on my plate, so I just, I was very sporadic with my thoughts. I don't really recall much from that match.
It was good. It was really good. It lived up to the hype.
Yeah, I'd have to watch the recap, but from what I remember, I think people were really happy with the product. And again, I think I was able to get those couple of strength moves in where people actually got impressed. It's like, shit, he's lifting up Luke, whoa. That's not something everyone gets to do.
Yeah. I think lifting up Dark Ice is very different from lifting up Killawatt Kaos, despite the fact that they're both the same size. Ice might be fucking heavier than him, but he's easier to lift up.
Yeah.
Alright, so from there, let's get to Christmas Carnage. You're booked to wrestle Mike Delcanho. We're trying to fake everyone out here. make them believe that there's going to be this stupid stipulation going on, and whoever wins gets to choose a stipulation for the match of resolution. It's all a big bunch of bullshit just to hide the fact that the match is actually going to be Fazer versus Mike Delcanho.
Yeah.
So what do you...
I remember leading up to that match, Barrett touched it on his podcast, but we proposed this stipulation where it was like a point system. We're gonna have this
all
point.
this stupid shit.
And Barrett's angle was like, let's push through with this match. It's the worst stipulation ever, but we're gonna push through with it. And people were supposed to hate it, and they liked the idea.
Yeah.
They liked the idea. They got behind the idea, and we're like, no, don't, you fucking idiots! Like, you know, the one time we tried
typical WZWA. They like all the things that
supermarks.
are shit.
Anyway, so. Yeah, so
Fuck.
In the end we had to get people, rather than being like, oh, you know, we had to sort of flip the angle, rather than being like, oh no, we don't want this match to happen, please don't have the match, please don't have the match. They're not having the match, it's him and Fazer, yeah. Rather it was like, they're going to have the match, 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 they're not having the match, oh boo, so I get heel heat, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, either way, it worked.
You got the heat, and then, because I'm sitting there backstage, and my heart's pumping, because I know how big this is for a moment for Fazer anyway.
Yeah.
You know, this is his return after, you know, the situation that took place, and, you know, I felt bad about it, and he felt bad about it. I remember seeing him at the Beaufort Street Festival.
Yeah.
He was, like, bartending, and me and Johnny B were, like, drunk. And like he was our bartender, and he
That's
gave
right,
us
at the rum bar.
He gave us extra strong drinks that night. And I said to him, you know, like, I feel bad about how things happened. We never even really spoke about it. Like, we never even inboxed each other about it. It was this unspoken thing. And he was like, oh, I'd love to come back at some point. So I kept that in the back of my mind. And one day I was hanging out with Barrett. We were watching old matches and stuff, and I'd never hung out with him one-on-one. And I said, I have this idea, I don't know if you're keen on it, but I know that you're going to be retiring at Resolution, so would you be keen on maybe Clint Marshall bringing out Fazer to wrestle you at Christmas Carnage? And straight away he was like, yes. So, what are your thoughts on seeing Fazer make his return in the Revolutionaries?
I was glad he did.
Back together.
Because, I mean, Zach really he loved doing the backyard wrestling. For him, it was, you know, I think... He wasn't ever too serious about it all. Yeah. For him, it was like just his vent. It was like a bit of a hobby, like an activity, just
something on the side.
Exactly, you know, just a break from all the serious stuff in life, just to play around. So, I think he was really happy to come back. And from what I remember, Barrett and him put on a good match.
Really good match, man. It was like Fazer hadn't even missed his step.
Barrett was very excited to face him.
Really
wanted to before he retired.
Yeah. So I thought that would mean a lot to him. So I thought, well, I'll just forget about what happened and just be like, you know, Zach, if you want to do it, let's do it. You know, let's forget about whatever happened.
Yeah, whatever. So that was cool. Barrett went over in the end, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, and because I was interfering a little bit as well and whatnot. But yeah, so that was the last match before the Resolution match.
The big one, yeah.
So I think the feud had been built up pretty well.
Yep, and we kind of put the cherry on top with the Battlefield Brawl match. He came out, eliminated you, then went straight after you and didn't care about the match.
Yeah, exactly. And then we had the brawl on the outside.
Yeah,
I thought this match was built up perfectly. Yeah, I think if there's ever been a backyard wrestling match built up with this much hype, it's this one.
Yeah.
You could have put together a proper video package for this, and it would have, you know, seemed like legitimate.
For sure.
People would have bought into the feud.
Yeah, people would have paid money to see it, I reckon. Alright, so let's get to it. Resolution 3, you versus Mike Delcanho. Your thoughts on the match itself, the planning for the match?
Disappointment's the first word that comes
to
mind.
I mean, did he plan the whole match? And he told you?
We both did. We got together. He came over one afternoon, and we sat in my room, and we thought of all these spots, and we were watching, you know, Japanese wrestling on the internet, and we're like, oh, I've seen this, let's do this, and we had this big match plan, you know, laid out, and Barrett organised it in sort of like a logical, flowing fashion, and we had, you know, the cut-offs, and, you know, towards the end we had some serious match psychology going, and like we had this big.
And in the end, it's such an insignificant move that ended up ending it.
Oh,
It's like that's probably just a setup move for something else,
Yeah, it was just unfortunate, and Barrett came out of the match. He's like, I should have told him, the ropes are low, hold me, support my body, and he was like putting the blame on himself. I just said, like, Barrett, shit happens.
He always does, man.
It's shit happens. I mean, it was really unfortunate because, like you said, we probably would have been 1/8 of the way through that match.
You're barely even through it.
Barely even through it. We had some awesome stuff planned for that match. Really awesome stuff. The match psychology towards the end was going to be like on par with like HBK, Undertaker, WrestleMania 25 sort of thing.
Well, he told me the aim was to have the best match there's ever been in Yardley.
That was his aim, and why not? It's one of the most prominent WA Yarders retirement match.
Yeah.
How can you not? So yeah, I mean, we had an awesome match. I surprised myself we did some real hectic chaining stuff at the beginning. We were going over that.
It was always back to that side headlock takedown.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to the side. It's telling such a great story already.
And then my suicide dive over the ring. That was. I was scared, man. Because it got to the segment. Oh, and also because Barrett goes for the moonsault, I catch off the apron, I catch him, and I throw him into that. Yeah. People thought I'd honestly hurt him. Yeah. People thought he was seriously injured.
Because the show beforehand, Antilochus busted his head open from being clotheslined over the top rope, so everyone was like worried about that ring apron.
But also Barrett now has all the skill of selling from EPW, behind him now too. So.
And I think it'd really been building up this match as well, which is why, because, Barrett had lost a lot of weight in Israel. I had also lost a lot of weight in Israel, and I started going to the gym, so I sort of bulked up a little bit. So, we went from, like, fat kid and, his friend wrestling on a base to sort of like, hey, I've slimmed down and bulked up, So it felt like a more mature version of our classic ICWS matches, which is sort of the way we were going about it. So we came to that match, and unfortunately that incident happened where he hits his knee. I was talking about the suicide dive, that's right. Obviously, you can't practice that.
No.
So it was just a matter of faith. I just said to Barrett, I was totally expecting to go over the top rope and hit the ground. That's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting anything less. I was like, you know what? I'll just take the bump. How often do you see guys in the Fed do the suicide dive? I was like, let's just do it. And the way Barrett caught me was just so clever, where he's just sort of caught me.
He didn't catch you. He was lying down, and as you came up, you almost like rolled off.
Yeah, I just like rolled over the top of him and stuff. I don't know. The way he sold it was really good, because I just didn't hit the ground essentially, and I was able to come out. And
professionalism.
When I hit that move, I just felt like really boss afterwards. You can see if you watch the footage, it's like I've hit the move. I was gonna go continue the match, and I'm like, no, fuck it, I'm gonna taunt. Yeah. And I start taunting the crowd. I'm like, which of you cunts has done a suicide dive? So you had the incident, and it was unfortunate, and we just didn't know what to do, because he hit his ankle, and I'm like, okay.
So how's the dialogue between you two at this time? Is he saying to you like, I can't put any weight on it, I'm done?
Yeah, he was sort of saying like, it hurts, like back off, and I'm like, okay. So I'm just standing in the corner, and then I gave it like a minute, so I go over to start picking him up, and he's just like, no, dude, I can't put any weight on it. So I'm just like, at this point in the match, I'm thinking like, all right, it's gone to shit. So I've just like left him there. So we've essentially sort of broken kayfabe. Like anyone watching at home will know that this isn't part of that match angle, because ICE has come into the ring. They're asking there.
Jesus, sounded like you said ICE has come into the
ICE
ring.
Has come in, ICE has came into the ring and beheaded Mike Delcanho. No, ICE has come into the ring to check out, so they're actually properly assessing, like asking what's wrong, and I'm just in the corner, I'm thinking like, the match is done.
What are you going to do?
What are we going to do? So
I don't know.
I've just gone up to Luke. I've said to Luke, because I knew Barrett would go through it, I said, just tell Barrett to do the finish.
Alright.
And I wrestled that to Luke, and Luke said, okay, come over to Barrett, picked him up, I'm getting him up, Barrett's going, you know, because Barrett was in serious pain at the time.
Yeah.
He's on the brink of tears. And he's like, you're going to have to finish me off, you know. And we did that, and it looked good, actually. You know, he's stomping, he's trying to hit me, and you, bam, hit the axe handle. I actually went for a bro kick, and he didn't sell it. I've just sort of, like, bumped it. Because the angle I was going to go for, which I thought would have been pretty cool, because I said finish, and the original finish was I hit the supernova, all of that, go for the pin, 1, 2... kick out, and I'm just thinking, what the fuck? And so Barrett's practically dead at that point, and he realizes, and then Barrett goes, like, slaps me. He goes, you're gonna have to finish me off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what happened here is I got him up, he slaps me straight away, and I'm going, oh, fuming. So I went for the bro kick. The plan was hit the bro kick, hit the scissors, hit the supernova normally, just the sit out slam. He still kicks out of that afterwards, and then bam, hit the thing. So that's what I thought was going to happen, but he's no-selled the bro kick, so I've just said, oh, fuck it, we'll just go straight to the driver. And I've hit the driver, the crowd's gone wild, and, you know, it's sort of a really...
Props to him for keep going,
absolutely,
just for at least a couple.
Absolutely.
Couple of moves.
I thought we recovered all right. I think the fact that we've hit the sit-out driver was, you know, enough of a redemption from, obviously, the disappointing cut short of the match.
Well, I mean, it's still 18-minute long thing.
Yeah.
It's still a great match as it was.
But, like, we were, you know, at that rate, it probably would have gone for another, you know, 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, and it would have been probably the best match of all time.
But, yeah. Anyway, it was a disappointment, absolutely. But even then, I mean, when I've left the entranceway, I've taken off my singer, and I've come straight back out to help Barrett, because I was like, I felt a bit guilty myself, because essentially I'm the one who's thrown him into the turnbuckle. So, you know, I didn't care about kayfabe at that point. I'm like, I've hurt a friend. You know, I need to help him out, get him upstairs, and we did. But no hard feelings between Barrett and I. You know, shit happens, and we were both disappointed, but, you know, even then we were still able to entertain the crowd for 20 minutes.
Yeah. And it was still good for what we got.
Absolutely.
Alright, so let's get to the next bit.
That was my last match for a while.
Yes, Fazer did get the win over Brian Lowe at the same show. Revolutionaries on a roll, basically, and you were going to become tag team champions again. But after this show, we were having a 3-month break. But you did message me and decided that you wanted to retire, which is coinciding with Brian Lowe retiring, Nick Ariel retiring, Alex Stone retiring, Mike Delcanho retiring. So we had several, retirements, within the space of a month. And we were reeling because we had plans for Brian Lowe and me to form a tag team, an unlikely tag team despite our previous history, to feud with the Revolutionaries. That was an idea that I'd had. But unfortunately, you had decided that match of Barrett was good enough for you and you were ready to...
At that point in time, I just got into this new... intensive
I'd heard
university.
You got into
the Bachelor of Philosophy at UWA, which a 4-year degree as opposed to a 3-year degree, research intensive, a lot of extracurricular.
You got into a program which is rare.
Yeah. It was
only 40 people in the state are accepted
each year.
Yeah,
so
each year.
it was a big privilege, and it's something I wasn't going to turn down. And I took my university studies very seriously. I have to with the course. And so at this point in time, I'd step back. I stepped back from a lot of things in my life. I had to cut out quite a few things. And unfortunately, the wrestling was one that just had to go, with time commitments and stuff.
What about the footy umpiring?
Yeah, the footy umpiring was still happening. It was mainly, footy umpiring, which was it's also my work. That's my job. That's what that's my form of income.
Okay. Yeah.
As well as that, I had to organise a lot of stuff. I'm going on exchange in America next year.
Yeah.
So I had that semester to organise that as well. I also had to organise and research a research placement, like doing proper research at one of the university groups there. So I had to organise that. So I had to do all of that in first semester of 2015.
So now everyone is listening right now, and now you're understanding why.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking hell, dude.
Yeah. So I had a lot on my plate. So at this point, I just said to myself, I said, realistically, I'm not going to be able to come back for a while. And I was happy to sort of end it with that match with Barrett, because I felt like, you know what, it was the ultimate conclusion to...
You came full circle.
Yeah,
much,
it came full circle. There wasn't much else left for me to do. So yeah, I wrote a message to the boys and I just said, hey guys, you know, got a lot on my plate at the moment. I don't think I'm going to be able to keep doing this. But, you know, I stressed that, like, nothing's wrong in my life, because I know there are a lot of guys who leave the thread because shit's going on and there's drama and this and that. I just wanted to stress them. It's like, nothing's wrong with my life. Everything is, like, fantastic. Yeah. Just priorities.
And that's fair enough, man. I mean, just from you telling me, it's just like... I can't even imagine how that feels, because...
Yeah. It is a lot of pressure, but I guess I'm just sort of, like, used to it, so... you know, it's sort of just like what I do.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right.
That's where I stand.
So, you know, have you been listening to the? Have you been, you know, checking on the thread to see about all this stuff going on about us possibly not doing WZWA anymore?
I very rarely followed the thread. A lot of the time, I used to follow it quite closely, and then there was just that period where there was just fucking bitching.
There was so much shit going on.
Drama and every...
Zach loves the thread. It's like a soap opera for Zach.
And
like
bitching and drama, and it really put me off wrestling or being involved. I mean, I was never that politically active, but like just when you come here and like you had all these people fighting over Facebook, you know, on their phones, visually keyboard warriors and stuff. It's just like,
yeah,
what are they? Like, what are you fighting for? Like, you're all friends and stuff, and I don't know. So eventually, it stopped.
But we're privy to, like, you know, there's going to be a final show.
No, I had no idea,
because you were booked to be on to wrestle on the final show. I don't know if you were aware of it, but
I told you.
Yeah,
there's going to be a match with you and Johnston, I believe, for your last match, but...
Vaguely remember that. But, yeah, like I said, it was...
I'm glad it never happened.
I know, I was never involved in the thread, never really wanted to be. A lot of the time, I go on there and read it for the entertainment of watching children fight over Facebook, and that's sort of the point it got to. And,
I'm glad it's over now.
Yeah.
You know,
but yeah, that sort of put me off the entire thing. Plus, there was so much stuff always being posted, it was impossible to keep up with it. And for me, it was just like, I'm not involved, you know. A lot of the time, people would post, like, their dramas in their personal life. And, you know, like, I'm just... Yeah. There's just not some things you just don't need to get involved in. And so I didn't. So I've never really kept up much with the thread.
Okay.
So I always used to just rely on either you or Justin to know what was going on. Yeah. And, you know... In the end, I always got there and had my match, and I think at the end of the day, that's what mattered.
Yeah, fair enough. So what made you message me about returning for a possible match at Frostbite?
I had time. I finished first semester of university this year. I was in my uni break.
Was it also not the fact that the Fed had dropped the amount of events as well?
Yeah, it was just
like 6 per year.
You know what I mean? So like everyone had sort of taken a step back from the commitment and stuff, and all of a sudden it was a bit more chilled. So and I was just like, you know what? I have the time to wrestle, and again, still love doing it. Even when I finished with Barrett, I didn't hate wrestling. I didn't hate, you know, it wasn't something I didn't enjoy. It was just a matter of priorities.
Yeah.
And so we got it done. You know, I got my exams done. I had all this time, and I'm like, you know what? I know there's an event coming up. Screw it. hey Carl, can I come back and wrestle?
Yep.
You know, and that's all it took, you know, and then bam, I'm in the match. And like I said, it just got to that point.
Came back as a face and it made no sense.
Yeah, I didn't really come back as anything.
Well, I mean, I kind of consider that end shot of you helping Delcanho to the back as kind of a babyface turn in a way.
Who cares?
No one's keeping score. No one's like,
score.
But he was with Fazer earlier in the show. He should still be
Yeah, so whatever.
It's like you helped Delcanho to the back, and I was like, well, you know what? A lot of time has passed. Let's just do what we can with you. Basically, at first, the idea was that you were going to wrestle Kai Fusion.
Yeah.
But then that idea dropped, and the idea of you facing Monet was like, well, I got to do it. I got to fucking do it. I mean, I tried twice to get you guys to wrestle, plus another tag team match. Wasn't able to do it at the time because of certain factors taking place, but you got to wrestle Luke Monet, Frostbite, the latest show. Your thoughts on how that went, and finally get to wrestling him.
That was a good match.
Match of the show?
Yeah. Again, we just sort of kept the match pretty simple. And I think that's what works a lot of the time. If your match just has good structure, if it has a good story behind it, you don't need those spot fests, you don't need anything crazy. You know, because
you don't even need to leave the ring.
Exactly. You know, people will
Look
get
at you versus JD Flame
exactly.
in 2013. Like that's just a great match. Didn't even need to leave the ring.
Yep. So I mean that's we put on a good show, and I thought the storyline angle with the brass knucks at the end was cool. And I when I came back to the Fed, I said to you, like, hey man, I don't know how often I'm going to be able to do this. Take this as a one-off. You know,
but anytime you can come back, I'll fit you in when I can.
Exactly, and so my position as a character, I'm more than happy to put over those people or do my part to further the storylines of the people who are more committed, who are more involved in the Fed.
Okay.
But I was very happy to get back. I think I'd been away for 5 months, something like that.
Something.
Yeah. I've been away for quite a while, and I think people had a sneaking suspicion I was wrestling on there. I mean, I came there with the idea that...
I don't think they did, because the reaction that we got when you came out was when your theme song hit it. I'm sorry.
That's awesome.
It was just like, I mean... And I can see DJ being like, fuck. Like, because he's doing ICWS now, so he's trying to one-up me. And I'm like, I just one-upped you, motherfucker.
Yeah. But yeah, that was cool coming back, and I'm glad people were so welcoming as well. I mean, people could have easily been like, what the fuck are you doing here? Yeah, I felt like they could have been like that throughout my entire time in WZWA.
But I think we set it up pretty well with the contrast between my promo with Luke and then you just coming out with the intensity all behind it. Like.
And that was the first event I wrestled without a shirt. I was...
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I was...
Magic Mike XXL.
Magic Marshall.
The comments from the crowd makes that match even better.
But yeah, I was just really... I mean, I'm in the peak physical fitness I've ever been in my life. I mean, when I went away on travels, I was at 90 kilos. When I came back, buffet breakfast every morning.
Thank you, Tinder.
We'll do that. But yeah, I came back and I have lost 16 kilos to the day. And that event, I was just like, I'm in the best shape of my life. Fuck it, I'm gonna show it off.
Because I'd seen you in the past without a shirt on. You always had a little bit of a thing there, and now it's flat. And I'm like, oh man, I need to get into that shape. Yeah. I need to get into Clint Marshall shape.
Yeah, I was just like, you know what? If there's gonna be a time that I'm fucking, why not? It adds to the character, it adds a bit of legitimacy. And it was for myself as well. I was happy, I was more than comfortable to be there and just stand there without a shirt and be like, you know what? I'm comfortable. Not only comfortable, but I'm fucking confident. I'll stand here. Yeah, I was. That was sort of just a little achievement for me.
And men's abs is loving it.
Yeah, men's abs. Stay away from me.
Last question for the WZWA section. What is the future of Clint Marshall in WZWA and backyard wrestling? This is news to me, so I would love to know what you would like to do.
Again, for me, the love for it is still there. I still love coming down and chilling with the guys and putting on a match and entertaining everyone. It's still something I enjoy doing. But again, it's just a matter of priorities for me. I'll do it if I have the time, and if it won't impact on the things which have proper consequences for me. Because the worst thing that happens if I miss an event at WZWA is people don't see me wrestle, essentially. Maybe a couple stories. I don't think I'm that high up in the storyline pecking order that it'll impact or like ruin anything. So I feel the worst thing that happens is I don't wrestle, people don't get to see me wrestle. Whereas if I impact, with my university, if that interferes, my marks suffer, career prospects, with the footy umpiring, if I don't perform, I don't get pushed up those higher grades, Gotcha. So again, for my future, I just take it one event at a time. If I can make it, I'm happy to come and keep, entertaining everyone. I don't think in terms of is Clint Marshall going to improve? Is he going to get another push? I think those sort of days are past me. I don't think I'm going to be back in the spotlight when it comes to these sort of things. I think I don't have the time really to commit to that sort of engagement. But I'm more than happy to come and keep wrestling and entertaining everyone and hanging out with the boys. So yeah, I guess I'll just be taking it one event at a time. I mean, I'm away for the first half of next year as well, so
who knows where we'll be at?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows where we'll be at? But
I don't even know where I'll be at.
Again, like I said in part one, I've never really taken this too seriously. It's always just been a bit of fun for me. I've never really considered going pro. I never really had much pride on the line when it comes to I never put pressure on myself to perform here. I never felt like there was some sort of standard I had to meet. For me, this was me coming and fucking being Clint Marshall. Like, who the fuck, my alter backyard wrestling ego. Yeah. It's just fun. That's all it is, and it's all it's ever will be.
Yeah.
And so what does the future hold? Well, maybe it holds a lot, maybe it holds a little. I just take it as it comes because at the end of the day, it's just a bit of fun and entertainment for me. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Well, on my end of things, the future of Clint Marshall is anytime I can get you there, you'll wrestle someone you never wrestled before. It won't be something that, unless it's a JD Flame.
Yeah.
Because I know that you'd like your last match, if it does happen, to be against Clint Marshall.
Yeah.
But if
I'd like to be a triple threat with Barrett as well, but I don't know.
I don't know if that'll happen. But other than that, it will always be against someone that you've never wrestled before, just so we can say, well, now we've seen that. Like, there's a Ryan Tate, there's a Alex Stone, there's a few people there that haven't had a match with you before, which I think would be fucking great to see.
Yeah.
Antilochus would be... I remember Delcanho saying that that's one of his dream matches, is to see you and Antilochus wrestle. So if that ever happens, great, but if it doesn't, we won't lose sleep over it.
No.
That's for sure.
We'll lose sleep tonight. I'm going to be up at 7:30.
Oh, shit. All right, well, we'll try and quickly get through the Q&A.
Nah, no rush.
All right, okay. Q&A. First question from me. What is the genesis of nipple cam?
The genesis of nipple cam was I was cameraman at an ICWS event once, and they were trying to sort out music, something technical difficulties.
Carl, show me your nipple.
Yeah, so I'm just like, bam, oi guys, show me your nipple, and I just go around to everyone, and funnily enough, without question, everyone was more than happy.
Straight away.
pull out a nipple.
Straight away,
So,
not even questions asked.
I don't know where the footage. Maybe it's in the archives.
Oh, it's in the archives, deep down in the back.
Available on the
ICWS
ICWS network for
$8.99.
for $8.99.
But you need to have the parental controls off for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Use the promo code Clint15 for it.
Because I remember one show in WZWA, there was a lot of like drama going on. You leant over to me and you said, I think now's a better time than any for nipple cam. And, you know what? You're right on the money there, my friend.
But nipple cam was great. That was at a couple ICWS events, and then I think it loses its novelty after a while. Clint, I'm not showing you my nipple again. Pervert.
Who would you like to have the chance to wrestle?
Me? Alex Stone.
You guys got to like touch a little bit in the triads match, but not enough really.
Nah, he would have been awesome to wrestle. I think Ryan would have also been a very cool bloke to get in the ring with. I would have said Dark Eyes, but apparently we had a match.
You did. I'll link it to you so you can watch it.
I'd like to go. I mean, even though I've already wrestled, I'd like to go at it again with Ice. I think we would put on a pretty cool match. But yeah, off the top of my head, I'd have to say either Ryan or Alex. In particular, Alex. I just because I think Alex was. I mean, he was at the top of the company for so long, and he has such a lot of charisma. And I always thought his wrestling style was very simple, and yet he was able to put on those really A-grade matches. So it'd be cool to work with someone like that. Yeah,
well, Alex, I know you're listening because Alex is a huge fan of the podcast.
And
at some point, if we can line it up, Clint Marshall vs. Alex Stone will be fantastic.
Yeah, get off your ass, Alex.
Yeah, Alex.
Come wrestle me.
Yeah.
I also like to wrestle you again in the proper ring. I thought that would have that would go down.
I think
well.
with those conditions around us, and with proper planning and me not being hungover.
Yep. Well, that's no guarantee, but
no, I'm sure I'll be okay. But I would love to wrestle you again, man. I think we only really touched the surface of what we can do. Yeah. You watch a match with me and JD Flame,
especially because I was only 16.
That was an amazing match, and I reckon I could pull off the same kind of
absolutely
match with you.
That would have been awesome.
That'd be awesome. Okay, Blade has chimed in. Which Fed have you... Oh, well, this is obvious. Which Fed have you preferred working for in your time in yarding, WZWA, ICWS? I don't know. No, I don't know, actually.
Nah, I'd have to say WZWA.
Yes, DJ, do you hear that, bitch?
Well, TJ wasn't booking for ICWS at the time.
He was kind of.
But either way, I just enjoyed WZWA because it allowed some proper character development.
As opposed to Aviator's Jacket, Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. But that being said, some of the matches that I had in ICWS were just a lot of fun. The hardcore triple threat in particular comes to mind, and the matches with Dan Zeppelin as well, where you just put on those showcases of spots and stuff. That was really fun times. But if I had to say like what I enjoyed the most, it'd have to be WZWA, just because I think there was a lot more depth to the character, and I think maturity levels and ability was enhanced being in the proper ring and environment.
Yep, cool. Okay, well, you've kind of answered this, but he asks, is there a chance down the track for a full-time Clint Marshall return to WZWA?
Full-time, no. I can't guarantee a full-time return. All I can guarantee is taking it 1 month at a time. Yeah.
So if the date lines up with you being okay with it, then
I'll be there. Absolutely. But a full-time return just... It's not something I can guarantee or commit to.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But, fortunately, you are still open to the idea of wrestling more, so... Mm-hmm. It's all hopeful for all of us. Alex Stone, Ryan Tate, me. We'll see how we go. Okay, number 3 from Bladeshaw. What was it like to be the top guy in ICWS? Did you feel that it was... your time and you deserved it when it happened? Well, you kind of covered it.
Yeah, I sort of covered it, but how'd it feel being the top guy? I mean, I was sort of honoured. I was like pretty overwhelmed in the sense of like I'd only been there for like 3 matches and they wanted me to have the title, and it's like, oh, thank you. I'm glad that you're like.
It just seemed like that's all it took.
Giving me, thank you for giving me the push, and I appreciated that. And did I feel it was my time? No. Didn't feel like I'd been there long enough. Do I feel like I deserved it? I didn't feel like I didn't deserve it, but at the same time, if they had not given it to me or held off for a lot longer, I wouldn't have complained.
Okay.
But how did it feel like essentially being the guy that people wanted to see wrestle, the match that like everyone wanted to see, like being essentially the main event of each event, even though sometimes the main event would be the first match of the day. It was cool. I was glad that people enjoyed watching me essentially participate in a hobby. It was pretty humbling. I was glad that people were so welcoming and keen to see me.
Okay. Question 4 from Blade. Out of the I guess the 2 theme songs you've ever had, which was your favourite?
Ooh. That's actually a tricky one.
Yeah, man, it's hard because like that Revolutionary song is just so synonymous. But then when you hear that beginning of that Zeppelin song, it's just like, oh, that's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, I don't know. That's actually a really hard question. I think both songs really fit into the characters really well. I think I assume you chose the other. Yeah, I chose both of them. The Revolutionaries theme song is actually edited down. I mean, I've used the full 1-minute intro version at Resolution 3 against Barrett. Where there's this big build up and stuff, which is really awesome. I think that's a really cool thing when you have that minute build up. Yeah. And you finally come out and then the bass drops and it's like bam, there's the Revolutionary. I think that's cool, but at the same time there's some sort of like real edginess to the levy breaks. That with the harmonica and stuff. And it's
cool.
It's just so classic, I guess you could say. If I had to choose, I'd probably have to go for the Revolutionaries theme because again, having that extra depth to the character and the bass dropping and then bam, here's the Revolutionary. If you had if that was high production quality and you had like light shows and that, like it'd be dark and then bam, there it is sort of thing. That's that. I guess I'd have to conclude with that. Yeah, the Revolutionary theme.
Okay. This last question we've already covered it. Like, who would you like to wrestle that you haven't? So, Dark Ice asks, within your run as ICWS champion, were you looking at potential opponents to drop your title to, as opposed to what was booked? I guess you didn't really care.
No, I was never. I didn't have much of a creative input. It was always sort of just like, what's happening.
Completely different to every other champion I've booked for. It's like, I want to drop it to this guy. Well, I'm sorry.
I remember one time.
Sorry, you're dropping it to Monet.
Yeah, I remember when I talked to you because you were used to dealing with 27 people who always gave you grief and always had something to say.
It was just like
whenever I came.
Zippy's messaging me. Thank God.
Yeah, I remember you loved it. Like I called you boss. That's what I always used to say. It's like no worries, boss. And you sent me like that little emoticon with the rosy cheeks. It's like, oh, boss.
Oh, thank God.
Respect.
Someone's showing some respect. Oh gosh.
That was good.
Yeah. Okay, Dark Ice also asked, did you ever think you would become as big of a star as you did?
I guess no. I didn't. I never. Coming into it,
Coming in, did you think I'm going to be a big star?
No, never.
No, I'm just going to go from one match to another.
I'm just going to go have my matches.
Oh, you're going to make me the champion?
Thing.
Okay, well, I'll just keep doing my thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was my entire attitude towards it all. It was sort of just like keep on trucking, keep doing what I do. Never letting anything get to my head. Never really never taking myself seriously, because why are you taking backyard wrestling seriously? How can you take backyard wrestling seriously? You don't get paid for this. You're essentially doing something that 12 and 13-year-olds do on their parents' bed, or on trampoline, like what we did. That's essentially everything we're doing right now is just like a supercharged version of what we used to do when we were 11 and 12 years old. So to take myself seriously and to come in and be like, oh, I've set these goals for myself, or like, I'm going to be this, or, I'm going to be champion. It's like, why put those pressures on yourself? It only ruins or like places unnecessary restrictions or standards on you, which if you don't meet, you feel like you're disappointed, or like that you stop enjoying it. And I feel like a lot of the guys in the Fed have done that, and I think that's why a lot of them have gotten very uptight about the politics and the backstage stuff, because that they put these conditions on themselves, like I have to be champion, or I have to do this, I have to do that, rather than just taking as it comes. Because at the end of the day, whether you win or lose, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Just to butt in on that point, I think the addition of like Nick and John to the thread, like causing all their ruckus.
I love those two. Like, I would have loved to have a match with Nick as well on the matter. Going back to the old question, I reckon that just would have been fun, because he's entertaining to watch. Simply put,
it's always you know that they don't take themselves too seriously.
Like, we went through the XCW page the other night, and there's the video of drunken idiots. It's just you.
We had this 10-year anniversary ceremony where we were like deciding who was the wrestler of the decade, heel of the decade, tag team of the decade, and all that. Anyway, we had no food there. So it was just pure alcohol going into our system. By the end of the night, I was a mess. We were all a mess, and I was just slurring and interviewing this guy, and all of us were there, and drunk idiots. Yeah, definitely.
It was so funny.
But I guess the final question is, I'm not going to go into word association because it's 1:45.
Yeah.
So the last question I want to ask you is, what does Clint Marshall mean to backyard wrestling? What is your legacy?
What is my legacy leaving here? I think I'd like to think that what I've left behind is a lot of entertaining matches, a lot of good memories for people, but also just showing people not to take it so seriously. I think that's something I would probably really like to emphasize, just to, at the end of the day, remember that it's just backyard wrestling.
Agreed.
I mean, how old are you, Carl?
28.
28 years old, and you're still doing it, and you don't do it because you're competitive about it. Like, you do it because you love it. And I guess my entire attitude throughout my entire time wrestling was very nonchalant, just, come in, have some fun, do my match, when I can. And it was something I always loved, and I never took it seriously, because I knew as soon as I started taking it seriously, that's when the fun starts dying down, and that's when you lose your interest, because it's no longer fun. So what do I feel I've left? I mean, I guess you could say I'm a household name for WA yarding.
Well, I mean, you probably weren't even aware that Jack Wallace was a huge fan of you before he even met you.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I was like, I really appreciate that. I'm glad that people enjoyed watching what I do. And it's like anyone. It's like a musician. You don't make any. If you're a local musician here, you don't make much money out of it. You do it because you enjoy what you do. And if someone else enjoys watching you do what you enjoy doing, it's really humbling, and it's really, uplifting to know that, hey, what I'm doing isn't just, one big waste of time. Someone's actually gaining some sort of enjoyment from this, not only myself. And I guess if I can just leave behind good memories with people and good matches, and you know, people can recollect and say, oh dude, you remember that time you did the suicide dive or almost broke down Zeppelin's neck, or like the tombstone on the chair, and I can just be like, oh, fuck yeah, that was sick, man. And like, and that's all it is, just, you know, memories that you can reminisce at. And, you know, I just hope that, you know, that's sort of the legacy, I guess, I can leave behind. Just to, you know, it was always just a bit of childish fun and just, you know, essentially living out your dreams and your hobbies in someone's backyard. And
you can imagine years down the line, you and an old JD Flame and an old Mike Delcanho and rocking chairs on the porch.
Yeah.
with your iPads in front of you. Hey boys, you remember that time we had that triple threat match? That was fucking sick.
And then I'll do the heel turn and grab the rocking chair and hit someone.
No, it has to be Delcanho, not Flame. Flame will help you do the stomps. Beat him down.
And then cardiac arrest. Bam, dead.
Bam, dead. Great death. Great death.
The dusty finish comes back.
Alright, well, Clint Marshall, Zibby, whatever you like to be called now. Thank you very much for doing this interview, pleasure. Man. I'm sure that the guys are going to be enthralled with both your interview and JD Flame's interview.
And hey, if they want to talk to me more about, you know, anything I've said here, or you know, anything I've said, or just want to, you know, chat to me, you know.
Yeah, you know, if you want to ask Zibby about
whatever
wrestling, you know. Okay, I got this big match. You know, you've had big matches before. What can I do to make this a big match? I'm sure you could give some good advice.
I'm sure I could. I'm sure I could give some bad advice as well. Nah, but it's been great. Thanks for having me, Carl. I've enjoyed it. I'm glad we got to do this.
No worries. So thank you very much to Clint Marshall, and another thank you to JD Flame. I did both these interviews in one night. We started at 6 o'clock. It's now 10 to 1 in the morning. So thank you to them. Oh man, I haven't eaten either. Blended cooked all night, and I didn't even eat it. But I'll be having dinner after this.
Someone's in the doghouse tonight.
Oh yeah, doing it doggy style. Thank you guys for thank you guys for doing this, and thank you for listening to the GBYWN Australia podcast once again. Aston Crude with you. Thank you to JD Flame, thank you to Clint Marshall, and we will see you next time where I'll hopefully finally fucking interview Mykonos. Thank you. Good night.